Hey everyone, haven't talked the personal stuff on my YouTube channel for a while, so here it is. Or wherever I'm posting this, if the apocalypse doesn't happen. Also, I'm holding the phone this time. So yeah. Sorry for the shakiness, but that's just the way things work. So, COVID-19 has pretty much canceled all of my plans, and I've been very stressed out, and most of the stress is coming from not knowing what's going to happen next because the news is always changing. And I will be going to Iowa later, but right now I'm going to be staying here. The person replacing me is already here with their stuff here. So my housemate, one of my housemates, and the person replacing me have offered to pay for a temporary stay for me somewhere else. Still in town, because there's no point in me leaving right now because everything is closed. And I'm very thankful for that. At the same time, I'm not going to ignore the privileged situation that's going on for them to be able to do that. A lot of things have uncovered since my housemates and I have had the falling out. And this whole situation, I just don't know who to trust, because now that I know that you don't really know someone until you live with them, it's like you just never know who's going to stab you in the back and like plot against you and stuff. And I'm saying these very specific things for very specific reasons. I've overheard conversations about myself and about others, and I really hope I never meet people like this again. And I know what they're doing is to avoid certain types of criticism and damages to their reputation. It wouldn't be a good look to kick somebody out during a pandemic, especially just because you didn't like something that they said about you. At the same time, I'm glad I'm not being displaced during the pandemic. So it's kind of I wanted to say I can only complain so much, but really, it's not a complaint. It's a different set of issues. You are definitely exercising your privilege to avoid other things. And it's definitely a privilege that was built to make things always pan out the way that they wanted them to, and to avoid whatever they could be able to afford to avoid. But I hope that comes to an end, and not just for them, but for everyone. I hope that everyone who has ever been able to weasel their way out of an issue, I hope that stops. Unless, of course, it involves hurting someone else. Because in my situation, I know it's best that I get out of here. Even if I don't leave Minneapolis like I want to, it's best I get out of this house. And I don't want this to be taken as ungrateful, because the luck that I've had has allowed me to, even though I've never had good housemates since I've been here, I've still been very lucky and very fortunate in my housing situations. And I've learned a lot about people. It's kind of like some things, of course, I already knew, but you don't really know them until you experience them. And I would gladly have a different situation to never meet any people like these again. Current and past housemates. I never want to see people like this. I never want to have people like this in my life, in important roles in my life ever again, because these people just aren't who they say they are. And some people are better at hiding it than others, but it's all horrible. And even though it's not the worst situation I could think of, my previous house was definitely worse. And the house that I was in between houses, was definitely worse than this. I still wouldn't wish this on anyone. Everyone should have reliable housemates. Everybody should have the kind of housemates that they want to have, in terms of connection, availability, communication, everything. And if you want to, if you are locked into a certain type of lifestyle, don't have housemates, because people shouldn't be subjected to whatever it is that you're doing that you're not willing to be flexible about. Now, there are some things that can't be helped, like health conditions. But if you like your house cluttered and messy and you just want people to just deal with it, don't have housemates. Don't subject people to your mess and nasty. One of many examples, I'm sure other people can think of housemate nightmares way worse than I can. Of course, nothing lethal or threaten their safety, but still, like, a concern that wasn't treated seriously or taken a totally different kind of way, or things blew out of proportion. People shouldn't have to be in a situation where they're uncomfortable with people that they live with. And sometimes that's a you problem, and sometimes that's a them problem. And the person that is replacing me knows them after speaking with me and someone else who used to live here. And I'm glad that somebody who knows them is moving in instead of somebody who would be naive and thinking that they're cool when they're really not. So yeah, that's pretty much my mental unloading on that. And also, I also went over the stress of like how Covid-19 is changing things. And of course there's a whole bunch of political stuff, but like, I don't know how much I should keep up with at this point, because things change by the second. Like, one day coronavirus isn't that serious, the next day we are told to self-isolate, and then there's a possibility of a lockdown. Businesses have closed. They've cut bus services. Anything that, I think everything closes at like 9 now, or like 8, or some places have closed at 7. But a lot of these places that were closing, like after those times, those places have cut their hours. Even one place that closed at 8 now closed at 2, before they did the non-essential businesses ordinance that closed everything that's not grocery. Or otherwise, you know what I mean. Non-essential business, which is going to cut into some gentrification. I'm glad about that, but it also hurts the small businesses that hosted Radical Space. And a lot of those businesses weren't doing that great to start with. So there are some people that aren't going to recover from this. And obviously the way the government's handling this is fucked up. Like, even without the hourly updates, it's like the Trump administration told the governors that they would have to buy their own testing kits and then outbid them for the testing kits. So now there's still no readily available access to testing kits, and they're doing inside trading about who can get what with like treatment. And people are just self-quarantining because they might have it, but we don't know who has it, and we don't know like who needs to be quarantined, and we don't know who needs what treatment. And a government that cares about its people doesn't do that. So everything is pretty much set up against us as far as our government goes. So to me, the self-isolation thing coming from them is a scare tactic to keep people under control, because they're not doing anything to resolve the situation as quickly and as safely as possible. So I'm just not about it. Like, and I'm also not around anybody who's particularly vulnerable. So I have a lot less reason to care. I don't really care if I get it or if I have it. Yeah, that's just the bulk of things on my mind right now. Thanks for watching. And I post this to see what other people have to say. Like, by all means, socialize in my comments. Take care.